Hello, everyone! After a very long wait, we finally saw the second part of the 19th episode of Skibidi Toilet Multiverse from Dom Studio, which was incredible. So today, I'm going to do a full and detailed analysis of this episode to find all the Easter eggs and hidden details that you didn't notice. Why did the Titans fail to finally destroy Skibidi Scientist and let him go? Who is this cameraman who was the POV in the previous episode? Also, why couldn't Skibidi Pennywise destroy Titan Cameraman with his TV? Watch this video to the end so you don't miss anything and get your tea and snacks ready, because this is going to be very entertaining. Let's go! The new episode doesn't start right after the first part, because we see a fight that has already begun, which takes place near an abandoned circus, and apparently it was thoroughly destroyed due to the battle of these four giant creatures. The Titan falls to the ground, being thrown off by Skibidi Pennywise. And you have to be strong enough to throw or hit Titan Speakerman that hard so you make him fall like this. And we'll see more of this clown's power later. Titan Speakerman fires the cannon on his wrist straight at Skibidi's face, briefly stunning him, then comes up and burns the clown with a laser straight from his core. But Skibidi Pennywise proved to be no wimp, and responded to the Titan by hitting him with his toy hammer, and oh my god, would you look at that! He was able to rip off the Titan speaker along with his defenses. Who would have thought it wasn't a toy hammer? Even the huge Skibidi monster from episode 17 couldn't break this guy's defenses, and the clown was able to do it, which clearly speaks to his immense strength. Meanwhile, Titan Cameraman fights the Skibidi Scientist, giving him a smacky slap right in the face. Scientist responds by sending him a poisonous missile from his tentacle. But luckily, the Titan manages to cover himself from the projectile with his energy shield. And check out how it looks after the upgrade. It is no longer rectangular, but round with many cells on it. Next, the Titans stand back to back, and two Skibidi toilets surround them. Cameraman explains the plan to his bro, after which Titan Speakerman pulls out a huge axe from behind his back, and Cameraman finally turns on his energy blade, the appearance of which we've been waiting 2 episodes for. The second part of the fight begins. The Red Titan attacks Skibidi Scientist, and Speakerman clearly looks like the one with advantages because Scientist can't do anything to him. He only fired one of his cannons, but didn't do any tangible damage. As we found out in the last episode, Titan Speakerman has upgraded his fighting skills quite a bit, so he easily gives this bald prick another good slap. I wonder how many punches he's gotten in his face in the entire episodes. The Titan then deftly slices off one of the Skibidi's tentacles, which had a poison cannon on it. Look at him, he's clearly not happy about what happened. And while the Scientist is mourning his lost limb, Pennywise Toilet flies behind him, hitting the ground. Then Titan Cameraman runs up and jumps right at him, bringing his cannon on his right arm forward and firing it. And the energy beams fly out of those 2 auxiliary cannons, not the main one. Unfortunately, the Titan doesn't hit the spot, and Pennywise goes up to the cameraman, also giving him a smacky slap. It looks like the Skibidi have learned this ultimatum technique, and now the Alliance soldiers need to be more careful. But let's not get distracted. So after that, Skibidi Pennywise unbuckles his purple flower, which was actually covering his laser weapon. He fires at Titan Cameraman, but he manages to cover himself with his shield again and shoots the clown with his miniguns in response. Unable to withstand the shots from those guns, he falls on top of Skibidi Scientist, and the sweet couple is left lying on the ground hugging each other while the Titans come together. Finally, when the Skibidi have finished their business, the fight continues, and the Scientist once again gets hit on his bald head. But surprisingly, he doesn't lie down to rest like he did in earlier episodes. Perhaps Titan Gigachad's punches were a lot harder. What do you think? Next, the Toilet Scientist turns on his speakers, but Titan Speakerman quickly turns them off with a precision punch, after which they spark and stop working. But Skibidi Pennywise seems to not have had enough of that hug, and he approaches the Red Titan from behind and grabs him with his huge hands. However, Titan Cameraman really doesn't like the fact that someone other than him is touching his friend like that, and makes a celebratory fireworks display out of Skibidi Pennywise's head. But at this point, the old Scientist finally remembered how to use his magnets after so many episodes, and used them to attract his opponent's hammer. And as he was just about to fire from his time cannon, Titan Speakerman flew up to him and started frying him with flamethrowers. He did that in order to weaken the effect of magnets and release the hammer, because as we remember, magnets start to work worse when heated. But suddenly we see that Skibidi Clown hasn't actually been destroyed. It's still standing on his claws, and another head comes out of his toilet, which is much bigger and scarier than the previous one. And I actually have a hunch that what we saw earlier is a fake head to mislead opponents. After Skibidi Pennywise was knocked to the ground, Titan Cameraman was ready to finish him off. But Skibidi pulled out his sound horns and started making those awful meme noises. Stunning Cameraman. Yeah, bro, there's no doubt about it. You're a real clown. And when Skibidi stood up, he decided to use another one of his weapons, and it's that toy gun. He pulls the trigger, and this happens. I think it is a reference to the old movie The Mask, which had a similar scene. And while Titan Cameraman is standing there completely bewildered, a green slurry shoots out of the gun, which greatly reduces visibility, and the Titan has to take off his protective lens. But that's exactly what Skibidi Clown wanted. He pulled the TV right out of his mouth and started emitting Cameraman, repeating the trick from another universe. For a moment, the Titan succumbs to the TV radiation, letting go of his hammer. But suddenly his head begins to shake, just as it shook when he previously tried to resist the parasite in his body. Then his lens lights up red, just like in episode 14 during the Rage mod, and he cuts off that TV. You must be wondering why the Titan didn't submit and start destroying himself. I assume that after he was freed from the influence of the Skibidi parasite, Cameraman became resistant to attempts of subduing his mind, and now it is either impossible or extremely difficult to take control of him. This is why Skibidi Clown failed to execute his plan. Titan Cameraman remembers how much crap he has done, and now for such a brazen attempt, he decides to punish this toilet severely by lifting him above the ground. He then proceeds to fry the Pennywise Skibidi to well-done state, but once again in a fit of rage, he holds the fire for too long, and all that's left of the Skibidi is a skull. I think Titan Cameraman would make a bad cook, don't you think? Meanwhile, Speakerman fights the scientist, who shoots him with his latest poison missile, destroying the Titan's right weapon. Titan Speakerman hurls his axe right at Skibidi's head, and at this point you can see his wound start to sparkle, telling us that this toilet is a robot. The Red Titan salutes him and goes upwards, having Titan Cameraman destroy him with his energy weapon. There's a massive explosion, and despite this, Scientist survives. By the way, when the camera zooms in, you can see that the Titan has as many as 50 charges left in his weapon. And you can also see that the circus was not really destroyed during the fight. It stands quite far away from the place of battle. So, even in such a state, when it is almost destroyed, scientists managed to avoid final destruction. And while Titan's chains were flying right at him, he manages to teleport out of the place. Though I doubt he has any strength left in that state. I think someone else helped him and teleported him out of here. Maybe it was the actual Skibidi scientist. Either way, smiling evilly, the Skibidi robot disappears. But it will probably still appear in the future, with new and more dangerous weaponry. And most likely, this time Cannon is already obsolete and is no longer a trump card, as it was with Titan Drillman, because Titans are already equipped with devices that allow them to resist time stoppage. Therefore, its destruction plays no major role in this battle. And the main task of this robot was to find out what these guys are capable of and trap them. Suddenly, there is a Skibidi sound effect from the sky, and there appears a huge swarm of clown toilets which are equipped with poisonous explosive barrels. It becomes clear what the trap was, which we could have guessed from this message. However, Dom Studio earlier let us know that the Titans are aware of what may be waiting for them here. And these devices on the Titan's back are not actually weapons, as I thought earlier, but something more interesting. The Titans put these things in special holes, thus multiplying the power of the energy shield, which allowed it to be replicated over a larger area. It was only because of this that the Titans were able to survive this terrible attack. Look at what's left around where they were standing on before. Not even the remains of Pennywise. They certainly couldn't have survived something like that, but luckily they did. And when the shield dissipates, the Titans notice that they weren't actually alone in the dome. That's the POV from last episode, and yes, it's not a pencilman, just a cameraman of some new model. Well, this time it turns out not to be a member of a new race. But don't think what I told you earlier about the new race isn't true. I'm sure we'll be seeing them soon. Now let's take a closer look at this cameraman. He has an all-blue suit and blue tie, as well as a blue camera. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. He has gold stripes on his sleeves and neck, and a gold chain on his jacket. It's strange that it's not a watch. It would look great there. In addition, behind his back you can see some kind of satchel, and most likely it is a jetpack with which he can fly. All of this tells us that this is clearly an important character that we will see more than once in the series. I'm also sure that he has a connection to a race that we will see in the future. I think they are the creators of this technology that allows an agent to become invisible and infiltrate Skibidi bases undetected. The blue cameraman waves to the Titans to greet them. Now be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on lots of other cool videos. And that was me, Isa Toilet. See ya!